What's up, family? Coming to y'all with another video. This one is going to be a how to maneuver the North Coast, specifically Puerto Plata, to Cabarete area in 2023. Because it's a little different than some of the videos you guys have seen on how to get around Sosua and Puerto Plata and Cabarete area, because things are changing and have changed. I just posted a bunch of random pictures and some random videos of my time since I've been here. I've been here now off and on for about a year now, more on than off. I had to go back to the States for a couple of different things I had to deal with back home, but I'm somewhat now, I would think, intermediate advice giver of this area. Not an expert yet, but my experiences here have been pretty vast, and I think I can give some pretty good knowledge on a few topics here, specifically how to get here, transportation, housing, dining, excursions, and all-encompassing entertainment element in the North Coast here. So when I'm giving this advice to, I'm gonna try to give advice to two different types of visitors to the North Coast of the Dominican Republic. I'm gonna talk to short-term tourists and also long-term tourists, since I'm considering myself still a long-term tourist, because I'm not a citizen of the Dominican Republic, nor am I applying to be a citizen, because I will go back home to my home base in the United States every 3 months or so, pay the little fee that they make you pay here for overstay, because you can only really stay here 30 days without, I guess, violating your visa is what they would call it. But yeah, so every 3 months or so, I try to go back home. I was here a little bit longer the last time. I think I was 4 months before I actually went back. And when you go back, they just make you pay a fine for overstaying. It's nothing serious. But let's get into it. And like I said, I'm gonna give advice to the long-term and the short-term tourists, because I've been both here. So number one, how to get here. When you're coming to the North Coast, there's two airports that you can fly into, Santiago and Puerto Plata. Santiago is going to be your cheaper option. You can catch if you want to come on over to the beach area and not stay in Santiago. It's going to be your cheaper option to get to Sosua, Puerto Plata, and Cabarete area. Flying in, then you have to catch like a bus, a cab, or a taxi, some type of transportation from there to get over to the coastal cities. Like I said, Puerto Plata, Sosua, and Cabarete, the main three that I'll be discussing here. So once you decide what kind of money you want to spend getting over here, Puerto Plata is the better airport because it gives you a direct shot to the coast. You don't have to worry about any transportation, because you'll be like 15 minutes from the center of all three cities, pretty much. Maybe 20 more minutes, 30 more minutes to Cabarete. But I think from Puerto Plata to Cabarete is about an hour drive. So, I'm gonna give you information on all three cities, because when you come here, if you're gonna stretch out a little bit, you're gonna hit all three. If your main destination is Sosua, you're definitely going to hit all three. But some people just come and go to Puerto Plata if it's not for just business or some type of event. But the heavy beach party cities are Cabarete and Sosua, and they are two totally different cities. Though they serve different purposes on the North Coast, but. You can't go to one without going to the other, because you're just going to be curious if you're here for any amount of time, even if you're just here 3 days. 3 days is the shortest I would recommend anybody coming down here, because you really can't do it all in 3 days. It's a lot to do. If you're not just going to come here and party and, be in the entertainment district, it's a lot more to do to get out here. And you can see this is one of the trips I was out on, one of the four-wheelers with a guy that I've met since I've been here. But like I said, to get here, you pick one of those two airports. You can even fly into one of the airports that's in the south, which is the capital, Santo Domingo. And it's about a 4-hour bus ride up, 3-4 hour taxi ride, however you're going to get up here. but it's a good little piece. And I've had some friends fly into Santo Domingo, and it took them 13 hours to get up here because they were just, didn't know the area, got lost a few times. So I don't advise trying to drive from Santo Domingo up to the North Coast. It's just too far, especially if you're not familiar with the area. Now, I've had some people that have flown into Santo Domingo and were able to make it up to the North Coast, specifically Sosua, Cabarete area with no problems. But it's a long ride, man, and you really don't want to do it because once you've partied and hung out, the thing getting from there to my area or to this area is not a problem. It's going back after you partied and been tired. You really don't want to make that drive back. You'd rather just go 15 minutes to the airport in Purto Plata or an hour, 45-minute drive out to Santiago and catch a flight out. But those are the main three ways. The best two, like I said, best is Purto Plata, second is Santiago, third is Santo Domingo. If you're coming to the North Coast, if you're going to Punta Cana, you want to fly into something in the South Coast, which would be Santo Domingo, the capital. So, but to get up to the North Coast, Santiago and Purto Plata airports are the main two. All right. Once you get here, ground transportation here, you have quite a few options. You can get a taxi, you can get a moto concho if you don't have that many bags. I've never seen really too many moto conchos at the airport, mostly just taxis. And then, a private vehicle, somebody personally come and pick you up. But once you get into the city, the options open up a little bit more because you got the moto drivers, you can walk because everything is close in Sosua. You can catch a taxi, you can rent a car, you can rent a four-wheeler, you can rent a moped. It's up to you. Now, this is where we start splitting off the short-term renters or the short-term visitors versus the long-term visitors. Short-term visitors, I would suggest you not get a rental car. Just get you a cab from the airport into whichever city that you're visiting, wherever your hotel is. And man, catch these moto concho guys, preferably an older dude because they're going to drive slower, they're going to be more cautious versus the younger guys who are going to dip in and out of traffic and have you white knuckling the whole ride. And just do that because you're not going to be here that long, man. I wouldn't rent a car. Plus, driving here is just, there's videos on it. Just Google driving in the DR. I'll leave it at that. So yeah, just come in, man, get you a moto concho, get you a taxi. It's easy to get around. Like I said, if you're just staying in those little three areas right there, because like I said, I go between the three cities. I wouldn't say daily, but at least once a week I'm in one of the other cities. My home base is in the Sosua, Sosua Cabarete area. I'm kind of right on the edge of both of those cities. So, but I go, back and forth, to each at least once a week. I'm out to one of the other cities because it's just different things that are offered in the different cities. So short term, get you a cab from the airport to your hotel, and then just moto concho it, everywhere you go around, or just walk. Because if you're just gonna stay in Sosua and not really stretch out, you can walk from one end to the other end of the city in, I'd say 30 minutes, and that's a slow walk. Now, for my long-term people, if you're going to be here a month or more, renting a car would be good, but man, the driving here is just treacherous, man. And I wouldn't say it's just dangerous, but you have to be paying attention. I'm talking about because you got people on foot, you got loose dogs, you got people in and out. The traffic lights are a suggestion to most people. Stop signs and yield signs, they're there, but not many people follow them. You're supposed to be on one. Everybody drives on the right side of the road, but in this country, but that's not a given. You might catch somebody coming up the wrong side just because they're in a hurry. So if you do rent a car, just be prepared for some crazy driving. But a month or more is probably worth it because you're going to spend a lot on moto conchos and taxis, especially if you're going from Purto Plata to Sosua to Cabarete and Cabarete to Purto Plata, and you're back and forth, and you're going to be, stretching out. Get you a car because you'll end up spending a lot of money on just the motos and stuff. Now, if you're going to just stay in the one city that you're in, you don't really need a car because, like I said, everything is walking distance in Sosua and Cabarete. Purto Plata is a little bit bigger, but in Sosua and Cabarete, you can get around from one end to the other on a moto concho in 5 minutes. That's how small these little beach towns are. So long-term, guys, think your options about the rentals and if you want to deal with the driving and how much moving around you'll be doing. But that's probably your best option if you're going to be doing a lot of moving. If you're not, stick with what the short-term people are doing. Get you a cab from the airport. Catch you some moto conchos around the city, man. It'll be best for you. Housing. Okay, let's start with short-term first again. For housing, short-term, and when I say short-term, less than 2 weeks, get you a hotel. My options, my priority of options when I did the short-term was I had the hotel option would be my first primary option. Airbnb would be my second option. And then third option would be what they would call, what do they call those? Like one night hotel. They're not Airbnbs, but they're not a full service type hotels. You know, that would be my last resort because I know a couple of guys that are here, they bounce around between those places, which are like $10 a night to $30 a night. Not the best places because I went and chilled with a couple of brothers that had some of those spots, and it's some hard living. No hot water, power in and out. Not in the best areas, not the safest stuff going on around you. Not the best restaurants, not the best place to be walking at night. So that wasn't really an option to me, but it is an option, you know, $10 to $30 a night type spots. I preferred the hotels because for the short term, it was in the area that I wanted to be in. It got full service. You know, you didn't have to worry about internet and power going out, kept hot water. The Airbnbs are very nice too, but I wouldn't say that they're not in the best areas because they're all over. But a lot of security you have to deal with, a lot of rules and regulations that I had to deal with. I had a couple of Airbnbs, and you know, they make you pay extra for power. It's just a lot of extra with the Airbnbs, but they're a lot nicer than the hotels. I will say that. You know, you get better options. You might be able to get up a nice house up in the hills if you don't want to be on the beach. You can get you a nice place at the beach if you want to be on the beach. You can get you somewhere that's like in the middle of the strip or out wilding. It just depends on where you want to be. But like I said, they came with a lot of rules I saw and regulations that I just didn't want to adhere to. So I stuck with the hotels until I got into my long-term place. And that's the another option. When you're renting long-term, you can get, what I did was a private resident from a private Dominican citizen that was actually renting their place. And I've done a option to buy a 12-month lease with the option to buy after 9 months. So, you know, I did that. So you have those options for long term. You can do a lease at a private residence, hotel, which will get you a nice little penny if you're going to stay long term. Airbnbs, or you can do, you know, bounce around like a lot of the guys do here, $10, $30 a night spots, and they just bounce around. But those are your options for long term. Like I said, short term, it's best to just stick with the hotels and the Airbnbs. Or if you're rough, rugged, and raw, you can do the $10 a night spots and, you know, just wild out. But they weren't my type of spots. I couldn't do it. All right, so let's move on to dining. Man, people told me when I first got everything cheap, man, all the food cheap. It is. It's cheap in different spots, and you can get specific dishes for cheap. But I've been to places, man, $50, $60 plates too. They got expensive spots down here too. So let's start with the short-term stuff. When you hear, man, short-term, you know, you probably grabbing food wherever you can grab it from, you know, close to your hotel or close to your Airbnb. So I wouldn't, hopefully when you come in short-term, you ain't worrying about price. You coming down here with enough money in your pocket. When you see something you want to eat, you grab it. You ain't checking for prices and all this other stuff and counting the tips and penny pinching. Don't come down here like that. But you can find cheap spots. The cheapest spot I think I ate at one place was like 200 pesos, which is $4 for some chicken, rice, and beans. You can pretty much find that anywhere at any restaurant for the low because it's just a traditional Dominican dish. It's gonna be some type of beef, rice and beans, chicken, rice and beans, or fish, rice and beans, and you can get that pretty much anywhere for under 500 pesos. Now, there are other spots, and a lot of them, that are very expensive. And I'm not gonna say they're all great either, but a lot of them are expensive, man. You go anywhere in the tourist areas where we go, who they call gringos, anybody from, United States, Europe, or anybody that ain't from here, basically. You can stay in those areas, and it's expensive, man. People told me it was cheap. Nope, 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 nope. They got expensive breakfast spots. They got expensive lunch spots. They got expensive dinner spots in the tourist areas. You have to search the spots out. But if you're here short term and you see something you like, man, don't be looking at the check. Just eat and keep it moving. If you're down here on a budget, there's places for you, but man, you don't want to come down here on a budget because you're gonna want to really enjoy your short term experience. So, but the dining ranges anywhere from, like I said, the cheapest meals, 200, 300 pesos, up to, 2,000 pesos, 3,000 pesos, or whatever for a plate. So it can get expensive. It just depends on how you get out and search and do what you got to do. But for me, when I was here short term, I didn't want to do any homework and have to drive around and look around for places to eat because I was trying to save a penny. No, I was up here balling. I'm eating lobster when I want to eat lobster. I'm eating fish when I want to eat fish, steak when I want to eat steak. I didn't want to ask for the beer prices. I didn't want to ask how much a shot of this costs or a shot of that. I was just doing me because I was only going to be here for a couple of days. Now, since I've been here long term, that's changed. You can't eat, $50 meals every day. Lunch and dinner, $60 meals. It's just not unless you're just a millionaire or high 100,000 or whatever. You can't be down here eating like that every day because, like I said, there are spots where the steak is, $40, $30 a plate. And that's just the meat. And you're ordering the potatoes and the vegetables extra. So when you're here long term, you really want to seek out the spots. And I picked out all my spots. I'm actually trying to get a brother that I know down here to give like a little tour card for eateries that he knows of that have, cheap food prices, but are very good places. Because I know some very good places that, like I said, 300 pesos, 400 pesos, which is $6, $8. And you're getting a meat, 2 vegetables, a salad, and a beer. So, those places exist. So I've sought them out. So what I do through the week, I usually cook breakfast every morning. I eat out for lunch and dinner. And like I said, I got my spots. And on Sundays and the weekends, I usually splurge and do some of the expensive spots. But I do not do those on the daily. Most of the time I'm trying to find the $8, $10 spots, at the most. If I see a plate that's $10, which is about, 500 pesos. So that's about my max, just for eating out during the week. On the weekends, I splurge. On Sunday, I always eat a big dinner. So I'm going to spend out on Sunday. I'm going to drink good on Sunday. But that's the long-term difference in the long-term me and the short-term me. The short-term me, I wasn't even looking at the ticket. I just put the cash down, whatever. I didn't even check. But the long-term me, now I'm checking for how much the tip is, how much this is, even though I'm still real generous because, like I said, even with the expensive plates, man, that's still compared to American prices, pennies on the dollar. So I still do, splurge a little bit, but you can't do it daily when you're long term. So just get that in your mind. And like I said, there's different options for you, man, because there's people around here eating off 100 pesos. I don't do those spots because I just don't gamble that much because there are a lot of the street vendors, man, they don't have running water on these things and truck pull up and so I'm not doing too many of the 100 peso places and the 200 peso places, but I do know people that eat those on the daily. So if you get down here and you get where you real tight on money, you can find you somewhere to eat for the low. But that's it pretty much for dining, man. Just short term, man. Don't come down here trying to penny pinch. Long term, like I said, use your um, um, pocket to be a gauge of how you're gonna eat out, and if you're gonna do, cook. It's best, if you cook, cause everywhere I go, it pretty much has good food. I ain't gonna lie, man. Even some of the smaller little joints that you look at and be like, even those spots, man, the food is good, man. The vegetables are fresh. It's just, I just don't like gambling when I can't see nobody washing hands, and they don't have an area to wash hands. I just can't do it. So the 100 peso spots, I just, it's last resort. Like if I'm out in this area, like how we are, you see in this part of the video, if we're out deep in the country or something, and there's just no other spot to mess with, I'll fuck with it. I ain't even gonna lie. But yeah, when it's they can't wash them hands, buddy, and I don't see no running water. They can wash pots, and I don't fool with it. But it's here for you. So short-term people, don't be penny pinching. Come on out and ball out and spin out, and help the people down here, because most of the restaurants, man, they live in the back of those restaurants. The restaurant is their life, so help them out with a big tip or something. In long term, yeah, you got the budget, and there are budget places you can eat for less than $10 a day and be good and healthy. You won't be starving. You just have to be smart with it. Okay, next topic, excursions. Okay, same thing. Let's talk with the short-term people first. Excursions. Short-term, you're going to be spending gringo prices because you haven't been here long enough to meet the people to plug you in to the people that give cheap excursions. It's always cool to get on YouTube and, look up, do your homework and try to find the people that have cheap excursions. But until you put boots on the ground and are here and talking to people, you won't save. You're going to be spending, big bucks. Now, and I'm saying big bucks for down here. It's still going to be cheaper. A boat ride in America going to get you for $100. Easy. You can get on a boat down here for $30 and be out there, 4 or 5 hours with full grill and all that cooking and all that going on. But if you're down here long term, you get that down to sometimes nothing if you know the right people. Yo, man, we doing this boat party. We charging folk, but you my folk, you come on and go. So that happened. But the longer you're here, the cheaper you get on the excursion. Horseback riding, four-wheeling and, zip lining and deep sea diving and all that stuff. You'll get a price better the longer you're here because you're going to know more people, But short-term folks, just like the food, man, go ahead and get ready to spend a little bit. Come on down with a little bit of extra and get ready to spend that money. Long-term folk, once you get down here and start talking to people, man, all that stuff cheap, man. I don't spend pretty much nothing on getting out and doing things because I'm just plugged in with a few folks that'll tell me, yo, we doing this or this who's doing that, or my uncle work over here or something like that, and I'm getting in. So short-term people, spend it. Long-term folks, do your homework, groundwork, network, get out here and talk to folks, and man, you'll live a much cheaper life as far as excursion goes. All right, last but not least, entertainment. And that means a lot to a lot of different people, and I'll just put it like this: whatever entertains you, be it gambling, be it pool parties, be it hitting the clubs at night, be it going to strip clubs, just wilding out, whatever you like doing. There's two different, like I said, different prices for different people. Short-term folks, man, you gonna spend that. I'm talking about you gonna get taxed. You gonna get taxed, especially if you like dealing with street folks. They gonna tax you because they gonna see you coming a mile away. If you got your flip-flops on with your socks, they know you ain't from down here. If you down here wearing certain jerseys and hats, they know you ain't from down here. They gonna tax you. So get ready for it. Come with enough in your pocket. It's a lot of entertainment down here. And I just say this, it's a lot of strippers down here. I'll put it like that. They're everywhere. Strippers walking on the street, strippers in the clubs, strippers in the restaurants, strippers are everywhere down here. And for private table dances, the fee is different for long-term people than it is for short-term people. And I'll leave it down here. When you want a stripper to give you a private table dance, and she know you ain't gonna be here long, you gonna get a excessive price. I advise you to get on here and do your homework when dealing with that type of entertainment. There's plenty of videos on it. I don't discuss it in mine, but just know that if you're not gonna be here long, you're gonna get taxed. And long-term people, as far as entertainment goes, the longer you're here, just like with dining and anything else, and the more people you know, the price on entertainment comes down drastically. From the first time I got here to the time I'm like cruising 6 months in, all my prices have dropped at least half on everything that I do, what I call entertainment. So that's just a matter of putting time in. So like I said, everything from, well, the casino gambling pretty much, this is one of the casinos in this video, but the casino gambling's gonna stay the same. They don't change their rates. But yeah, everything else I like to do for fun and whatever entertains me has dropped dramatically. Just like I said, by networking and meeting people and getting out and talking to folks, man, it just, folk gets comfortable with you. They know they can't hustle you. A lot of the brothers, that see you walking around after you've been there for a while, they get you better deals on four-wheelers and whatever else, man. These people are just friendly, man, especially like I say, after they know you're gonna be here for a minute. But this is my life, man, chilling every day, man. Like I said, I give y'all a little bit of, what I've learned since I've been here over a year. Hopefully it can save some of y'all some money and keep you from going through the pitfalls I went through, because I spent a lot, man, when I first got down here, that short term, man, because like I said, I wasn't really checking it either, man. I didn't really check it. I'm one of the guys that keep all my receipts on everything. I didn't check it till I really slowed down and said, wow, I was spending some money, but I was having fun while I was spending money, and it still wasn't a fraction of what I spent back home doing the same exact things, because the only thing different down here than up home is the weather and the beach. Everything else I can do in America. But it's just so much cheaper down here. And once you're here for a while, everything drops. The transportation prices drop, the housing prices drop, the dining prices drop, the excursion prices drop, the entertainment prices drop. Just because you start networking and plugging in the people, they feel how real you are, they try to help you. Everybody that's been here that I've known for the last year is now like a real good friend of mine, or even some I even call family, man, because they have helped me. And like I said, it has saved me a lot of money after my initial 3 months getting to know people, hugging some necks. I had to buy a bunch of bills and, spend a little money. I wouldn't call it buying friends, but it was letting them know that, hey, I don't need you for nothing. And if anything, I can help you a little bit. So I wouldn't call it buying friends. I've just called it getting them to know who I am and that I'm down here for real, and I'm gonna be here for a minute, and I ain't planning on pulling that. So don't be hustling me. So that's like my little 30 minutes of knowledge I can drop on y'all here in 2023, because the city has changed a little bit. And it's constantly changing. They're doing a lot of new stuff here, man. So I might have to come to y'all with a new video on how to move down here in about 2 more years, because they're trying to make this place real family friendly. So that's going to eliminate, a lot of the entertainment aspects of the city, and it's going to make the city a lot crowded, if that's a word. But I think it's going to be too crowded. The beach here is too small to really cater to large families. I think it's more